Hello and welcome to another episode of the Knock On Podcast, brought to you by the good people of Zero Tackle. And Dan, Rugby League is back in all its glory, and about 1.4 million things have happened this week. Kick us off!
Let's start with the big news, because you haven't had a chance to have your say yet. I've been on my show, which you unfortunately missed. We had people come in and steal the thunder. Before I get into the deal itself, Dylan Brown's come out yesterday when this drops and said, it's not about the money. It's about the security of 10 years. He had a 6-year deal at Parramatta before we jump any further. It's since come out that only Newcastle were willing to offer that, and the Eels were unwilling to move from their offer, which was humongous. And it's not like they had to have an offer. He had a contract. What's your take on everything Dylan Brown?
Right. Brown is a very handy 5'8", right? And someone on Twitter said he's one of the best 5'8s in the competition. And the minute someone says that, you're kind of like, nah, he's not. When you deep dive down into it, he actually is. He's not bad. He had about 20 try assists. Right? I can see you thinking right now, obviously Munster, Tom Dearden, think.
Luai.
Yeah, Luai. There were a few, right? But Brown's in the top 5 when it comes to 5'8s, right? And in any order from 3 to 5, I'll hear you, right? Defensively, he's pretty good, but he's not a game breaker per se, right? Like, he gets his try assists. If you go back and have a look, he gets his try assists off the back of good movement. Like, you'll never see him throw a 30-meter spiral cutout pass. He just gets he's a very good link player. We've seen him play halfback last year, and it was not good at all. And he essentially played halfback on the weekend despite having the number 6 on his back, and it was not good. I know he got a try assist to Will Penasini later on in the game, and I think he threw the final pass to Iongi as well, so it inflates his numbers there. But by that stage there, Melbourne had taken all their spine off, and I think Craig Bellamy was playing for him. Mm-hmm. Now, in terms of saying I didn't do it for the money, Dylan, yes, you did. No one wants to go and live in Newcastle. Okay? You had 2 options. You had a 6-year deal at Parramatta, western suburbs, close to Sydney, close to the beaches, close to everything you need, or a 10-year deal at Newcastle for an insane amount of money. Not like people, Nova Castrians try and leave Newcastle. No one wants to live in Newcastle. You didn't do this for the security because you were secure at Parramatta for the next 6 years. And if you had continued to play as good as you think you're going to play, you probably would have got an extra 4 years on top of it. Mm-hmm. You did this for the money. Just come out and say, I just want someone just one day to just turn around and say, like Paul George, right? Paul George turned around and said, I'm not leaving the Clippers for the money. And then he signs a $56 million deal and he's like, it turns out it was about the money. I just want an NRL player to turn around and go, they paid me $1.4 million. They can't get off of it. Like, it's mine now. It's mine. Whatever. That's my say.
I rate that completely. Absolutely. Of course he did it for the money. You show me one player who was willing to play for free. They do it for the money. And this is impossible to ignore money. I'm not having to go at Dylan Brown. I saw some big accounts say, people are going Dylan Brown. No one's going Dylan Brown. I would have signed that thing at half-time the other day.
Yeah.
It's Newcastle. I'm going to say fault here because I think it's a desperation. I think they're panicked hugely. I think the fact that Brown's gone on the front foot to come out and say, it's not about the money, it's not about this, it shows he cares too much about what people think about the money. Dylan, if you're watching this show, and let's face it, you're probably not, it's a lot of money, and all you're going to cop is criticism. You can, mate, unless they win 3 premierships the next 10 years, this isn't worth it.
Yeah, look, like $1.4 million makes him the highest paid player in the game right now. So just accept it. Like, I would have loved him to come out and go, like, wouldn't you take that? Like, if someone offered you $1.4 million, wouldn't you do it?
Just do that.
I'll tell you this. I love my workplace. I really love my workplace. But if someone offered me a 65% pay increase, see ya.
Yeah, Gornski's. Yeah. All he had to do was come out and say, I'm just providing for my family.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, isn't that cute? As he budgets for 10 years, Oh, mate, I could go on forever. We'll move on because we've all had to say about that, but I'm glad to see you there. Jason Ross, sticking at Parramatta. Not messing around. He's dropped the whole heap of forwards. Ryan Madison's playing New South Wales Cup. Kelma Tuolangi, who was not good on the weekend, has been dropped. He's not fooling around, and I got to say, I respect that.
Well, Ryan Madison didn't play. Did Ryan Madison play against
No, he was named and pulled out early. I don't know what the final make-up, but he's been named for New South Wales Cup. They've named an all-star. Pat Willimu Gregg's playing down there. There's a couple other players. Bryce Cartwright. These are regular first graders, and I think he's sending a message that last week wasn't good enough, and you got to earn it.
I think Madison and Cartwright, just reading a bit on the forums and Facebook lately, Madison and Cartwright is purely and simply to get their legs under them because they don't want to send players back into first grade and then just watch them get towed up. I don't think that's the great way to do it. If you've had this whole off-season injured and you haven't been able to play any trial games, that's what New South Wales Cup is there for. That's why you have an affiliate. Like Sione Katoa for Cronulla, when he's ready to play in round 20 or round 21, he's not coming straight back into the Sharks team. He's going to get a game for the Jets. Mm-hmm. So I like it. I like that Ryles is going to be ruthless, and you can't accept that. Like, I know going to Melbourne is hard, and especially week one. Like, that Melbourne crowd was the biggest crowd they've ever had. It was the biggest round one crowd in Melbourne. So, obviously, those two things go together. And that was, that was disgraceful. Like, 40-0 after 32 minutes, 46-6 at halftime. That's unacceptable. He has to set a tone and a standard. Now, they get the game against the Tigers this week, but the way that the Tigers defended and the way that the Tigers attacked, and if it wasn't for some Newcastle scramble and a bounce of the ball, the Tigers probably get away with that game by about 10 points. It's a tough one. Ryles had to set the tone, and he's done it. Good on him. Plenty of rookie coaches in their second game wouldn't do it.
Yep, that's why I wanted to bring it up. Now, he didn't cover himself in glory. Not that he was responsible for what happened out there. Obviously, he's going to take some because he's the coach, and that's what he's there to do. But if you pick Tuolangi, you're asking for trouble. I just straight up don't rate him, and I hate to single out players on here or ever, but he's one. Bryce Cartwright, for me, is a star. I love the fact he's playing New South Wales Cup. I'd give him 2 weeks and say you earn it, you come back, he can be the difference maker. Plus, there's no way they can drop Jack Williams after the performance he put in. Albeit at second row, where I still think he's the best lock in, Hopgood's very good, but he can play a little bit wider than Williams. Although Williams, he covered himself in glory in his first game for his new club.
Jack Williams should be playing the number 8 jersey and Junior Bolo should be on the bench.
Yeah, he is one who should be playing New South Wales Cup. He looked like an absolute shadow of his former self. A couple of years ago, if you'd written a side for New South Wales that didn't have Paulo in it, you get shouted down correctly. Now, he's closer to New South Wales Cup than New South Wales Origin.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. He was disgraceful. And then the winger who ran through and scored that sick bomb, what's his name, Targo, he gets dropped. Sean Russell led him like 900 tries.
I think Targo might have been injured. I'm almost certain because he was crossed out in Supercoach.
Right. Okay.
Which I think means injury. That shows how into Supercoach I am. But yeah, Sean Russell,
Yeah, young shark, Jordan Samrani on debut for Parramatta. Very, very good centre. Be interesting to see how he goes on the wing. The year we won Jersey Flegg, him and Bronson Zeri were the centre pairing. So very, very good player.
Can I put a suggestion there? Put him in the centres and put Lomax back on the wing.
Yes.
Oh,
yes, absolutely. Melbourne had a game plan. Just run at Zach Lomax because he can't defend the centres. And it worked.
Absolutely tout him up. And boy, did the Dragons fans enjoy it. Good on them. They deserve it after many, many years of misery. Let's go with the Dragons, mate. Ravalawa. Big dude. Capable of some freaky things. Off to South Sydney. It's since come out, since I actually wrote this, that he's going back to the Dragons next year. So it's a loan per se, not technically. It's like the Sullivan deal, I believe. He went and came back and ended up leaving.
Yeah, so he's gone to the Rabbitohs effective immediately, but he goes back to the Dragons next year. He'll stay at South Sydney.
What do you reckon? I reckon that's a good pickup.
I don't mind Ravalawa, but it looks like Shane Flanagan ran out of patience with him. I don't know how you can run out of patience with Ravalawa, but pick Fangai again. Because he was disgraceful. Like, he literally, I don't like to single out players, but if you ever want to watch a game and go, pick one player that cost the Dragons the game, it was him. I don't know which one it was, Max or Matt. He was shit.
He was. It's a shame, but it's professional football. This is what we're here to do. That's what football is meant to do.
And they turn around and say, Ravalawa was terrible under the high ball. Bruv, did you watch Fano?
Yeah.
He was... Oh.
Yeah,
Anyway,
don't get me wrong.
I like this move for South Sydney because they don't have a lot of backs. That young Bailey fella who rang his parents on FaceTime and said, you got to come back over to watch me play my first grade debut. Hopefully he's really good. Sucks for Tyrone Munro, another collarbone injury. But yeah, Ravalawa should find himself with... he should ask to play on the left wing as well because that's where South score all their tries.
Very good point. Yeah, Johnson's still a couple of weeks away by all. So he could potentially get a long-term spot. It's going to have to usurp a couple of the young guns there. I like it because South need points, and it's like the Radradra at Parramatta. Yeah, he's gonna cost you tries. So does Ronaldo. We know very, very well, unfortunately. But they need points, and Ravala's going to get you points. He may concede 3. He's going to score 3 on the weekend. Feagai conceded 3. Didn't look like scoring a try. They all came down to a Piloto's side. So I think it's a good move for everyone involved, especially the Dragons, because they can send a player they had no interest in playing or paying away. It means they can sign David Clemmer because the Molo thing's still not official, but it should be very, very soon. It also means they get to have a good look at him. Still play some game for South. If he's good, cool, come back. If not, you guys still want him? It's brilliant. It's a Flanagan. I'm loath to talk about the Red V on this show or any show. Shane Flanagan making all the right decisions.
And if this doesn't work out, he'll find himself in the Super League. So
completely probably kill it over there too. Player who's not going to the Super League. God, these are smooth this week. Selwyn Cobbo. The talk is, and we talked about it last week, that he is PNG's target number 1. Set to sign a 1-year extension with Brisbane and then go over there for the next however many years.
Yeah. No. Won't happen. Selwyn Cobbo came out and said that he wants to stay as close to his hometown as he possibly can. PNG's not that close.
No, it's not.
No. I can't see it happening.
What if they come to him 10-year deal, 1.4 mil?
Well, I mean, like, any 10-year 1.4 mil, you got to take. But, yeah, no.
I genuinely think we're going to see one of those deals very soon. Now, they're not in for another couple of years. I can't remember what it is.
2028?
That sounds right. I'm not a fan. I'm just straight up, I'm not a fan of this inclusion.
No, neither am I.
But if it's to be any chance of winning, they need to nail a player like Selwyn Cobbo and say, here's $1 million, come play fullback, you're the face of the franchise. Then they start recruiting.
And then go and get Alex Johnson and watch him break Ken Irvine's record on the wing for Papua New Guinea.
That's incredible. Last week we talked about Nathan Cleary and how ridiculous it was. Can you see a player of Cobbo's ilk going, or is this just they're just picking any player?
I can see someone like I can't see Selwyn Cobbo going there for a regular deal. But if they throw a ridiculous marquee deal at him and say 5 years, $1.4 million, and you're our starting fullback, I can see someone like Selwyn Cobbo take it.
They're going to need it. I think the NRL needs it. And I love Cobbo on the wing. As soon as he was named back on the wing, I'm like, okay, we're going to see the best of this guy again. I picked him in Supercoach, scored 3 tries. Didn't translate to a huge score, but it's not about that. It's about the fact he scored 3 tries. He was laughing, he was smiling, he was trampling blokes. He looked like Selwyn Cobbo of old. When he's forced to run up and defend inside and out, he didn't look like Cobbo. Some players just aren't meant for it. Centre and wing are very, very different, as we've seen with Lomax. I think Cobbo was fancy-free. He'll have more difficult games coming up, this week included, against the Raiders. But I like what I saw, and if he was the kind of player that PNG offered a ridiculous deal for, I would be very much in both corners. I think that's a good deal for everyone involved. Talking about bad deals, mate. Terrell May. Geez, the Roosters could have used him on the weekend, couldn't they? Instead, he was out bossing people in one of the best performances by a middle, not named Payne Hassel, Adam Fanua Blake. Geez, there was some good middle forwards this past weekend, or this round rather. He was huge for the Tigers. What the hell were the Roosters thinking?
And now you're seeing the Roosters linked with Francis Molo, and they're talking about buying Jared Roy-Hargraves out of his whole deal. Could have just saved all that money and kept Terrell May, who didn't want to go.
We've all heard the rumours. I flat chat don't care because we know factually what Francis Molo's done. We know how old Jared Roy-Hargraves is. This just feels like May didn't fit the mould they want and they flicked him and now they got to justify it. If a story doesn't come out, and I hope it doesn't because I don't wish ill upon anyone, this is the most embarrassing misstep because they had the next great middle forward. He's going to play for the Tigers. Their middle was utterly disgusting this past Thursday night.
Yeah, and the thing about Terrell May is we saw him 2 years ago playing for North Sydney against Newtown and we're like, geez, we've got to sign that guy. And then you found out he was a May brother and you're like, we got to sign that guy.
Yeah, he's too good.
He is way too... And look, fair play to him as well because he came out and said, my family first, rugby league second, but he's loving the Tigers. He's loved playing with Jerome Luai. He loves Benji Marshall. What did he say on his Instagram live? There's that rumor about Lachlan Galvin going to Parramatta, and he said, "No, I'll put him in a headlock so he can't sign it." Like he's having a lot of fun. That's like not only is he having a lot of fun, he's 150 meters and 30 tackles on good percentages. He's a great player. He's going to play Origin this year.
Yeah, when he was up, you and I both wanted him at Cronulla.
Yeah.
We said, I think it was here or on Outlaws, if we sign him, we're title favourites because you have him and Fanua Blake. You have two. That's the Payne Haas, Pat Carrigan. That's the Leota, Fisher Harris. You need two absolute monsters. I spoke to a lot of Roosters fans during the week, unfortunately, and they couldn't believe what it was. And they were like, just sitting there. They've let some incredible talent go. But don't get me wrong, Manu wanted to go play rugby. Suoli got one of those deals that you just couldn't say no to. He's the face of rugby union now, whatever that's worth. It's worth a lot of money, though. Terrell May actively didn't want to go. They picked him up and said, you have to go. We're not playing you. Go find a club. The Tigers said, we'll take him. So did about 4 other clubs. They just couldn't match it. It was too late. If he's on the market now, there's 15 other teams after him. I cannot believe this.
Yeah, like, how old is Terrell May? 23 years old. If he signed a 10-year, $1.1 million deal, I'd probably go, yeah, it's not a bad deal.
I'm so angry on behalf of Roosters fans. Never thought I'd say those words, but
yeah, well, you know what? I haven't had the luxury of speaking to Roosters fans, so I can't find one.
Well, they're going missing. No, they'll come out. They'll come out if they win this weekend, which they won't. But Penrith will get the job done for the 200th time in a row. Jeremiah Nanai, gone, dropped. We play the Cowboys this weekend. We being the Sharks, of course. Good news. The way he defended the other day, it's kind of a shame he's not going to be there.
Yeah. Wish you were still playing the way he defended the other day. Yeah, look, you've seen like three clubs got absolutely dusted on the weekend: the Roosters, the Eels, and the Cowboys. And the Cowboys and the Eels have come out and dropped their players and made statements on this. And this, I think the thing about Todd Payton making this statement is Jeremiah Nanai is a Queensland and Australian representative. So this is a bit. And he said he's going to be in Queensland Cup for a couple of weeks, learning how to tackle. So yeah, look, it's a shame that he's done it when we're playing him, but I don't know who the replacement is.
He's not Jeremiah Nanai, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know. And the thing is, Jeremiah Nanai and Kyle Felt were always good for a try against Cronulla, and they're both not there this week.
It's huge news for us. I was shocked. Like, I heard about 10 minutes before the teams dropped that there was a possibility that there was going to be a big name drop for the Cowboys. And I'm thinking, well, it can't be the kid. He's not a big name. I wouldn't be dropping him. Drinkwater, he's indispensable. And I couldn't think who it was. I'm like, maybe it's John McLean. He played for Australia or at least New South Wales a couple of years ago. And then they dropped Nanai, and I was shocked. Do not get me wrong. He didn't play well last week. But he was far from the only Cowboy that got caught out in defence. I got to hand it to Payton. I like it. But also, I don't know if I'd be dropping an Australian level second row when you're playing Cronulla, who are coming off 2 weeks rest, albeit from Vegas. Pretty handy outside backs, pretty handy back rowers, and a halfback who's looking to really send a message this week, whether he admits it or not. I don't know if this is the week to do it.
Glad he did it.
Me too. And finally, speaking of glad we did it, Graham Annesley's weekly briefings, Gornskis. What a shame for our content, mate. But this is the best day in rugby league history.
The best thing about this is now that's one less thing that you'll be whinging about on Twitter.
Yeah, brings it down to about 3, yeah.
Yeah, brings it down. Yeah, so we still got the trains. We still the best thing about it was when you used to watch Graham Annesley on a train because your train was so late.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah. But, this needed to go a long time ago. and I'm glad they've done it because, like while you've got some shocking referees on, you're just going to be in front, like, explaining yourself every week on why they got it wrong, and then trying to justify why they got it wrong. Just let it go.
Yeah, I agree. This was a weekly. Well, it just stuck in my core, Terry. Every single week he's up there and he'd defend the indefensible, and he'd be like, "What are you doing?" And then he'd throw a ref under the bus, and you'd be like, "What are you doing?"
But he'd never throw Casey Badger under the bus.
No,
never.
He had his favourites, and I'm not a huge fan of his. I cannot believe he escaped the review that he probably oversaw, knowing the way the NRL does these things. But when they said that, he'll still come out when there's contentious decisions. So we'll probably see him on Monday afternoon. Yep. But to know that every single week you won't have him up there for 7 minutes of him going, "We have a presentation. The referees are wrong." And then I had to watch his grief for this particular role. At the end of the season, full disclosure, I was just messaging AJ and saying, "Can you send me the cliff notes?" I couldn't sit and watch it. It was so bad. It's probably how people think about us, mate.
Probably.
But we got a couple of extra minutes. Any surprises this past weekend from round one or status quo?
Look, I am surprised by Manly. Now, full disclosure, I did pick Manly to win that game. I didn't pick him to win by that margin. Tom Turbo looked absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, it was some other surprises. I mean, I guess the way that Canberra played in Vegas, we haven't dissected that enough. I think Canberra were probably the most impressive team on that weekend, just the way that they won the game. I think it's impressive that the Titans got 2 points.
Yes.
Probably the team I'm most disappointed with would be the Dolphins. Now, I get it. They had the cyclone and they had to, rearrange games and everything like that, but that was no excuse for the performance they put in.
They were pretty bad. I'm willing to give them a pass because, as you said, there's pretty crazy circumstances. Mate, I was most disappointed by the Tigers. I thought they'd come out and rout Newcastle. Given I thought the game was at Leichhardt when I made that comment at first, but after all we've heard all off-season, they come up and do that.
Yeah, look, I think the thing for me now is I'm so numb with how useless the Tigers are that the only thing that I was upset about was that it cost me a point in our tipping comp, and because of the stupid rule that I made where you lose 2 points on a money ball, like I'm so far behind you already that I'm probably going to concede defeat. So, yeah, whatever. I'm numb to the Tigers. Caleb Ponga was awesome. Leave it at that. Okay. Dylan Lucas, he's a breakout player this year.
I expected better from the Tigers, and it's not often I say that, but there's your positive spin for this week.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Knock On Podcast, brought to you by the good people of Zero Tackle, your one-stop shop for all things rugby league, news, transfers, their own independent writers, the best independent writers in the country, led by my co-hosts, Mr. Dan Nichols. And Dan, you have got something dropping that I think is going to break Zero Tackle for content. Now, spoiler alert, when you dropped it into our group chat, we started dissecting teams. So what is it? What's dropping? Because I know what it is, and I actually want to read this because I'm just here for the comments.
So Dylan Brown has signed a pretty outrageous contract, which got me thinking, is this the worst contract of the last, let's call it the NRL era. And then I thought, I bet you I could name 10 worse. Full disclosure, I named 9 worse. Dylan Brown's going to open at 10. There are some names on this that are going to make people think, they're going to give players and people nightmares. We paid how much? For who? For how long? There are 17 names on this list that I have to whittle down to 10. Pretty close there. I'll finish it when I'm done here, and I'll get it up, and it'll be up in the next day or two. I try and post positive lists. Young guns, household names, best players, best contracts, best value, who I'm excited about, etc., etc. Going to the dark side, I'm posting something negative, and I don't like saying this, but negativity bangs, Terry. And yes, I said bangs because I'm cool with it. This is going to go huge. I'm going to cop heaps of hate. I don't care. These contracts deserve to be put in the limelight.
This is going to bang more than Ricky Martin's song, She Bangs, She Bangs. I can't wait to read the hate mail you get.
That shows our age.